Hi there. I've got myself and Gay here. We are from Cirrus Logic, and we're going to be talking. It's a bit of a different theme from John and Mark. We are going to be talking about our journeys into tech and soft skills along the way. So we can begin, Inka, if you have our slides ready. So I'd like to introduce myself first of all. Fiona Kippax. I am a product marketing specialist at Cirrus Logic, and I've got Gay here as well, who will take over halfway through, and she is an IT security engineer with us as well. And next, Inka, please. Just so you know, we've got somebody managing our slides for us, hence the delay. So I would like to take you back for about 40, 50 years and maybe consider what tech used to look like in the 70s. So a few of you will probably remember the excitement of using a Sony Walkman with your cassettes, out walking. I mean, it was the latest technology of the day. So then we had another highlight of the 70s, which would have been the enormous brick phone. So perhaps not quite as consumer friendly as the Walkman because it was so big, but it was an incredible invention for the time. And you could now make phone calls from practically anywhere. So imagine that. And then if we fast forward to today, what we're looking at, we've got the tiniest earbuds, which are connected with the magic of Bluetooth, and by communicating by phone, we would use the smartphone, the ubiquitous smartphone. And these can usually be found, as we all know, glued to the hand of practically every teenager, as well as a fair few adults. So at Cirrus Logic, we see the pace of technological change. It's going really fast, no sign of stopping, and we see that with our customers that we work with every day. So, however, the one thing that has remained constant over the past 40, 50 longer years are actually the soft skills that we need to successfully come up with the ideas and then create, build, market, and sell these products. So part of the investigation for this presentation today, I looked at a bit of research, and one of the studies from McDonald's actually done in 2015 said that 97% of UK employers believed that soft skills were important to their current business success. And actually more than 50% said that skills like communication and teamwork were more important than traditional academic results. So Cirrus Logic is no different. We really value the soft skills of our employees, and we offer lots of training and resources to continue this development. And even at our annual staff reviews, we're measured on our communication and collaboration skills. So next slide, please, Inka. So what exactly am I talking about in terms of soft skills? And I'm sure many of you will know exactly what they are. I've listed a few more of them here just in case. And as I said, I did quite a lot of research for the presentation, and because I absolutely love data, I wanted to be able to tie these soft skills to some hard data. And all the data I found actually highlighted the real value of soft skills to industry, which obviously we at Cirrus know, but as well, we linked it to the career success of an individual. So LinkedIn had done another study, and it actually said that 91% of companies agreed. They said that soft skills were really important when recruiting future talent. But actually, 80% of companies really struggled to find good soft skills in the market. And I think when we think about tech, and we have to remember that soft skills are actually really difficult to automate. We're still going to need engineers who can actively listen to understand exactly what a customer needs to create their next product, whether it's something like a flying car or an item we might use in space. But we're always going to need these kind of soft skills around us. They're really not easy to copy with AI or robots, and we need them. They're critical for the workforce. So actually, in 2013, Google, when they originally set up, they only employed computer science graduates with really good grades from the best universities. And in 2013, they decided to look at all the data that they had from the people that hired and fired. So clearly they had a lot of it. And it actually showed that the top characteristics for success were all soft skills. They highlighted things like being a good coach, great at communication, and really listening well, being things like critical thinker and problem solver. And incredibly, STEM expertise is actually at the bottom of this list. And as a result, they changed their hiring policy to include arts and humanities degrees. So interestingly, we followed it up with a study in 2017 to look at where did they have the best and most inventive and productive teams. And they realised that it wasn't those filled solely with top scientists with the most detailed specialised knowledge. It was actually the team with a broader range of soft skills. Things like curiosity towards the ideas of your teammates, or empathy and emotional intelligence. And actually, at the top of the list was emotional safety. So they found that to succeed, every team member had to be heard, and they had to feel confident about speaking up and making mistakes. So one of the sayings I found was from Steve Jobs, and he clearly said that technology alone is not enough, which is what this evidence is pointing to. Next slide, please. Thank you. So at this point, perhaps listening to me, you might think that I'm a soft skills type of a person. But actually, in reality, I absolutely love data. So I could be looking at the trends in markets that we maybe want to create a new product for, or I could be summarising data. I just love looking at it. And at school, this is my tech journey, I was always passionate about maths, chemistry and French. It could have been down to some of the amazing teaching, but those were my passions at school. So I've also tried to make kind of jazz up my slides a bit for you, and you may wonder why I've included some album covers for you. So a bit of background to Cirrus here, that we have, the company itself has a really strong connection with music. We've got an incredibly long history in audio processing, and our company culture is really built around music as well. We even have free guitar lessons in the office, which a lot of people are envious of outside the company. So our headquarters in Austin, Texas, is a city renowned for its music and festivals. So there's a lot of bands playing at our happy hours and things like that. So, and we've even got conference rooms named after rock stars. So a lot of musical stuff going on there. So I thought that instead of doing a number timeline for you, I would put in some of my favourite album covers. So maybe a distraction for you, but more enjoyable as well. So back to my tech journey. Where did I pick up and develop my soft skills? So I would say throughout my life, I have taken and been given the opportunity to develop my personal leadership. Third year at university, I headed up the Alchemist, the Chemistry Society. Had to negotiate extra cash for cheese and wines. Successful at doing that, and it was a really good night as well. So today it's Cirrus Logic, where I have set up the UK group of the company's women's leadership team. So I've taken the opportunity and run with it. Time management, always a key skill to have. I worked on it definitely through school and university, creating study timetables, to also ensuring I maybe didn't have too many late nights so I could make my 9 o'clock lectures. Definitely something I succeeded at, I'd say, by my final year. University again, collaboration skills, spent lots of time with different types of people, all wanting to get the message across. And actually that was why I chose chemistry then, because of the collaboration and interaction with other students. And it's something I continue to develop today at Cirrus. Marketing, again, I developed my persuasive writing there, I would say, as well as my written communication skills. And these have been incredibly invaluable work. I do need to write a lot of compelling emails to try and get my ideas across and to get people's buy-in. And throughout my working career, it's really been about putting these skills into practice and continuing to develop them. An example, perhaps, of my communication skills, when I had my first ever customer visit, I asked about 6 colleagues from different departments to actually come and listen to my presentation and ask me different questions that they thought the customer might ask. And if I didn't know the answer, they actually told me it, and I took a note of it and practiced it later. So again, a lot of customer interactions, which I still love, and I would still prepare very well for them. So I think one of the key things is, like, how can we be helping young people develop their soft skills and helping them to be employment ready and entering the workforce with somewhere like Cirrus Logic? Next slide, please, Elka. So when I was thinking about this, I thought that an easy way might be to start attaching the name of these soft skills to what they're actually doing. I did read in one survey that 54% of people never include soft skills in their CV, which I found incredible. And I didn't know whether it's because they didn't know what they were or because they didn't think they were important, but clearly that's a gap that needs filled. Perhaps in the classroom, when students set an assessment, it's clear that they're using their time management skills to reach the deadline. Or even if they're preparing a presentation. understanding the audience in order to make it more impactful is a clear communication skill, which maybe isn't always called out. And I've listed a few things here that at Cirrus Logic, things that we use every day that are key attributes to be using in the workplace. First one there is active listening. So this is a skill which I think a lot of us need to practice. It's quite a hard thing to do. I'm not sure everybody knows how to do it. But every day we're on calls with customers. We might be defining a new product for a next generation smartphone or a virtual reality headset, or we may even be solving a really critical delivery problem where they're threatening, they may be having a line down because we can't ship them any product. So in all these cases, we need to actively listen to our customers. We need to understand their needs, and we need to show we're fully engaged with what they're saying because they want us to help solve their problems. Which then leads nicely into the communication skills part of it. So there will be times that we have to deliver bad news, potentially. We've listened to our customers and we have to deliver some bad news about product we can't actually ship them. Or we may have to challenge their assumptions about the new product they're wanting to launch. And we need to do that with respect. And it's a soft skill that is learned and developed with continuous practice. So I would say communication is a large part of everyday life at Cirrus. And part of my role also involves analysing large volumes of complex data. I need to put them into pictures that are for both technical and non-technical audiences. So I really need to understand what my audience needs and communicate that data appropriately so that they don't come back and ask me hundreds of questions because they don't understand it. And also part of my role would be to communicate pricing proposals. An error in this kind of communication would be critical for Cirrus Logic. I potentially could lose the product money and it wouldn't be as profitable as we proposed. So I would say in my day-to-day job, I'd say about 80% of it involves soft skills. And again, collaboration, which, as I said, we're actually measured on every year along with communication skills. And every day is about collaboration. We have offices in the US, in Korea, Japan, and we need to collaborate really effectively with our colleagues and our customers to get our products to market. And we're actually really good at it. We have excellent relationship with our customers, but we keep building on it. We keep developing those soft skills. And it would be great to see young people encouraged to engage in projects with others and knowing that this is what they're doing, they're collaborating, even those they find tricky to work with, because that's what we have to do every day. It's a really good exercise in collaboration. And even better if you get each of them to take a different role and see what it feels like, which is like an average day in my work. And finally, before I hand over to Gay, time management. Again, another soft skill we really value at Cirrus Logic. When we collaborate with a customer to make a product, we make a commitment to the timescales that they've given us to launch the end product in the market. And it may also come to financial penalty. So it's really critical we meet what they're requesting. And everyone in the process, from the test engineers to logistics experts, the designers, we need great time management skills for a successful launch. But I think one thing I'd really like to highlight is it's not just something you learn and then move on. They are part of a continuous learning process. So at this point, I would like to hand you over to my colleague, Gay Cleary. She's going to talk to you about her rather more unusual journey than mine through tech. And she's going to give you some of the skills that she needs to successfully do her job. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Fiona. Yeah, so my name is Gay Cleary. I'm an IT security analyst engineer in Cirrus Logic. And yeah, again, like Fiona, I'd like to talk about soft skills for STEM success. Can I have next slide, please? Oh, they're being cut. Okay. So I have a master's, an MSc in Advanced Security and Digital Forensics from Edinburgh University. Advanced Security is cybersecurity, and I am particularly interested in data protection, cybersecurity awareness, and diversity in STEM. As you can see, I regard myself more as that kind of penguin character than the IT security hacker kind of type, which you quite often see people working with IT security. We're a very diverse bunch. You can see both. Oops, sorry, I hadn't finished. We're a very diverse bunch in the field, and you definitely get people working in the area and studying in the area who are more like the hackery type. But I'm more of a scaredy cat. I've never been on the dark web. But I often do get caught up in the excitement of some cyber attacks. Can I have the next slide, please? So this is my timeline. So it's funny, while I was listening to Fiona there, and she was talking about being passionate about maths and chemistry and things like that. When I think back to my school days, I was passionate about chatting to my friends in the back row of the classroom. I was lucky. I went to a very, very good school that was very academic, and we were supported a lot, but I was often not paying attention to the teachers. But I was very, able to do maths, physics, chemistry, those sorts of subjects. Interestingly enough, when you look back to my school results, this is a variation of a presentation I've been given to primary school students, trying to encourage them to look more broadly about STEM careers. And one of the things that I remember from my early school reports was that very good, but I talked too much in class. And interestingly, when I look back, I got my mother to send me them recently, and they also often said I was really good at music. So that was interesting for me because I don't remember that. But I did electronic engineering as a degree, and I don't know that I particularly enjoyed or felt stimulated by that, but I got through it. It was seen kind of as a role to management. I think that's one of the things that people forget now, that actually these degrees are a stepping stone to somewhere. So those people who studied electronic engineering with me, very few are actually electronic engineers anymore. And I'm probably one of the more tech people. That is 1991 when I graduated, a long time ago. I learned C programming from a book, and I typed my first computer program. I wrote it on paper before I typed it in. But I moved in to become a firmware engineer, which used C programming. And then firmware is that code that controls the hardware on a device. And then I moved into insurance and banking, taking the C programming, and I moved along to various things. In that middle bit there, which has also got a bit squinted, you can see from 2001 to 2014, I had a very diverse career in that I just dabbled in things while I was trying to be flexible, while my children were young and not so young. But IT security was it could have been, at that time I was in IT, and it was quite intense with regard to on call and support. So I chose to be flexible. But there came a time when I said I need to be a bit more back established in my career. So I went back and I did a master's and worked for a little while in academia in Edinburgh Napier, and then moved into IT security. But all those were me taking things that I moved along the way, and like building a tree. So wasn't a ladder. I moved, and everywhere along those skills I ran businesses. I had customer services. I studied. I was a teacher, a lecturer in Napier, and I've done lots and lots of things, and all of those have been supported by building on my skills and soft skills. Next slide, please. So why soft skills? I think a thing that we've heard a lot is that in school, I have 3 children who are late teens now, and you certainly hear that these children are going to be doing jobs in the future that we know nothing about yet. We don't know what these are. And as technology transforms how we work, then the skill set needs to change too. Inka, are you able to play that little video? This video I love because it reminds me of, if you click on play. Yeah, thank you. This reminds me of times in the past. Oh, there's no audio enabled. Oh, okay. You can pause that then.
You can make a noise, Dave.
Yeah, no, I can't make that noise. Yeah, what that makes is it makes that noise. I don't know who here can remember when we used to dial into a modem and it made that noise. And this is our lifetime, and we've moved a lot, as Fiona demonstrated with her phones. And we go on to my next slide, which also uses phones to map. So this maps my career change. These phones map from 1991, when I graduated as an electronic engineer, to now, where I'm a computer cybersecurity professional. So I've had to adapt an awful lot along the way. I graduated in a time when we didn't use the internet at work. We didn't have the internet at home. We had locally networked. I remember networking computers in my first job. We didn't have internet when we sat in our computer to work. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have a web environment even. So the world has changed a huge, immensely in our lifetime, as it has, to be honest, from my dad is an engineer, and even in his lifetime, he's an electrical and mechanical engineer. In his lifetime and career time, that world changed immensely as well, and he adapted along the way. But this is all a continuum. So we start at one place, and everywhere we go, we take skills with us. We develop new skills, but we do need to be able to adapt. So I changed from being a firmware engineer to working in banking, to running a bed and breakfast, and teaching children's yoga, and then I came back to academia, and I was a lecturer, and now I'm an IT professional. But so I had to adapt an awful lot along the way. But actually, I still use the skills that I had from the 1990s. Next slide, please. So I think another thing you really need is a commitment to lifetime learning. That's one of the things that we have to do. We have to keep up. But that doesn't mean you necessarily have to go back to university. There's many, many ways that people learn now, but we do need to keep up with emerging trends. It could be going to university or college, but there's a thing called, continuous professional development, where people just do training courses. Meetups is a really lovely one that we have. In IT security, in the days before COVID, lots and lots of companies used to sponsor groups where people will go and just share their skills, and they provide beer and pizza, which was really, really fun. Actually, you met lots of people. You get newsletters, you get webinars. So there's lots and lots of ways. But to be honest, I'm always, as I said, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat. I always I'm concerned about new things until I've got the background. Some people are more able to just get in there and work things out, whereas I tend to be a bit more cautious. But again, all those things are fine. And IT security or STEM subjects, it's not just for the nerds who know it all. People need to commit and continue to learn. Next slide. So as Fiona said, communication skills are really, really important. We need to talk to people. I need to talk to my colleagues. I need to explain to people within that I work with, teams that I work alongside, why they need to implement IT security controls. I need to explain to other staff what it's like, what a phishing email looks like. I need to communicate with vendors. We need to communicate and listen and understand when we get information from government sources and all sorts of sources about IT security issues and cybersecurity issues that are happening along the way. We do an awful lot of email communication at the moment, and that can be really, really abrupt. And we need to relationship build in this world. So having those communication skills is really, really important. We're not always perfect with them. Sometimes I can be abrupt, sometimes I'm short, sometimes I don't understand. And many, many people are reading my email when I send it to them. And to be honest, they will interpret it differently. And it's kind of my responsibility to be able to predict and to try and facilitate the fact that other people may interpret what I'm writing differently. Next slide. Creative thinking, really, really important. And while we talk a lot about STEM, you are seeing more and more now STEAM, where the A in there stands for art. And we need to pair know-how with creativity. So it's not only about the maths and the physics and the scientific kind of processes. It's about being creative. It's about having ideas. It's about thinking outside the box. One of the early projects I worked on as an engineer was a machine where somebody could just pay in an envelope, deposit an envelope into a bank. And we had it all, it was all great. It was all, we were perfect with it. We'd tested it, we'd coded it, we had manufactured it, and we brought it to the client, and they said, but somebody be able to put a slice of cheese in there. And this is what you have to understand, is that this is for an envelope, this is for you to deposit your check, but someone's going to try and stick a pen in there or a piece of cheese. So we have to think outside the box. We have to think not about just the problem we're trying to solve, but the other ways people will interact with this situation. Sometimes it's looking out the window. Sometimes it's just sitting down and drawing and doodling. And sometimes it's working with a group. It's very, very varied. Next slide. Next slide. Back. So my conclusions are what I would like if I could tell you all who are inspiring pupils to remind pupils that STEM isn't only for the geeks. I do find that I think a lot of students kind of get a bit overwhelmed by the mathsy guy who can do everything in 2 minutes and the person who's writing their own computer programs. I've worked with lots of students in Napier. I worked with lots of students who were coming back and they were retraining. They were coming from a different background. They didn't always find it easy. Some of them struggled, but they put in the hours. And actually, I know 2 particular people I'm thinking of have really, really strong careers now. And they were the people who just had the skills to put the time in, to talk and ask questions and ask for help. And oftentimes, those are the people who succeed in STEM. We really need people to not forget that. And lots of people get imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is when we all just feel like, oh, everybody else knows everything and I know nothing. We all feel like that, which with lots of people who were researchers and studying for PhD. We all have it. So please remind your pupils that there's a space for everybody in STEM. Thank you. Back to Fiona.
So I think we have one last slide.
Yeah.
Inka, we've got 1 minute left. After that final one from Gay, and it's simply a couple of key takeaways from the journeys that Gay and I have had. There is no single journey into a tech job. You can see that lots of experiences are needed and that soft skills are not innate. They can be taught and learned from a really young age. And we really need to all be thinking and continuing to develop these soft skills. It's a lifelong success for all of us. So thank you. And we have one last slide, some inspirational quotes for you all. And if there's any questions.
Can I just see Janice is asking if we could use the presentation in school? And like, I've given some of mine in school. I've definitely, and I like to tell people that, I'm very much a chatterbox. I'm, a STEM ambassador, so I'm happy even to give presentations to pupils if people want that.
And Nikki has come in as well. And yes, we're both willing to share with your pupils via Zoom.
And get them younger, get them in S1 and S2 before they drop computer science and physics.
Yeah. So we will be on the Cirrus stand. I definitely will be on the Cirrus stand after this. I'll work out how to get there. And you can come and chat then. And I think, Inka, my contact email address was going to be put somewhere on the event. So please feel free. So it's fiona.kippax@cirrus.com. And Gay and I are more than willing to share the presentation and help you and incentivise more young people. We're really passionate about, obviously, women into STEM, but anybody. Soft skills STEM, brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.